handling the relationship with China is arguably not just your most important task, but also India's most important relationship. As India grows, as China grows and becomes even bigger, how do you see, in the context of China already bearing its military fangs as it were, how do you see this relationship shape up over the next several months, from the swings on the banks of the Sabarmati to having tanks lined up against each other, now pulling back from the brink? How do you see this relationship go from here, Dr. Jaishankar?
Well, I would give you an answer in 2-3 different propositions. Okay? I mean, first of all, in the rise of China, we have what really after the Second World War is a rise of a potential global power. Okay? So, it is a phenomenal happening. Now, we happen to be located directly next to this global power. So, when a global power rises, it will have its repercussions, it will have its ripples, and we feel it directly. Now, we have problems, historical problems, boundary issues, other issues. So, the possibility of the impact of that on us is obviously quite significant. The second is with vis-a-vis a lot of countries, because we have risen, you can see new balances, new equilibriums happening vis-a-vis India and much of the world. But because China has risen very much faster in the same period, and a lot of that I would say are due to the less than ideal optimal policies of the past on our part. So, some of the rise of India has been lost on China. So, therefore, the challenge we are going to face is China is rising, India is rising, but this India has to stand firm and stand clearly in its interest and signal that, look, we respect your interest, but we also have interests which need to be respected. Now, in terms of the how do you sort of look at the ups and downs, the swings in the relationship. Now, obviously, when a relationship is doing well, we would respond positively. So, if you extend your hand, I am going to extend my hand too, but if you point a gun at me, I will point a gun at you. I mean, that is reasonable, that is logical. So, we want today, our message to the Chinese is very clear. Look, we want good relations. We will be the second and third largest economy in the world in the very near future. We are the most populous countries in the world. We are the two Asian civilizations which are in a sense regaining the place in the global order. But the future of our relationship, if you want to see progress, I need peace and tranquility on the border. I can't have tension in the border. I can't have the kind of issues I had in Galwan and then say, well, let's carry on with business in the rest of our relationship. That's unreal. So, I think we've been very, very clear to the Chinese that if you want good relations, and on our side we do, then let's find a way of restoring peace and tranquility in the border areas. So, that is today the focus of our China policy.
Now, critics of your government will accuse Prime Minister Narendra Modi of having a very rose-tinted view of India's relationship with China and his personal ability to get China to change its policy or attitude towards India based on his supposed equation with President Xi Jinping. Do you think, like some prime ministers in the past, he got swayed with the optics at Xi'an or at Sabarmati, where he thought that because he and she had a personal equation, or at least it seemed, now I do not know, A, what is the equation currently, obviously terribly frayed, how do you see it, and did Xi Jinping take our Prime Minister for a ride?
Look, I ask you a counter question. Does Narendra Modi look like a person wearing rose tinted glasses ever in any situation? I mean, come on. I mean, you may have had some other prime minister 50 years ago. So let's not, sort of make those untenable sort of comparisons. Okay, look, I wasn't there at Wuhan when they had the first informal summit. I was there at the second one. These were, practical, pragmatic, tough conversations between leaders. And please understand, Rahul, today's diplomacy requires leaders to be engaged. The idea that somehow diplomacy is run by faceless bureaucrats, of which I was one till fairly recently, that somehow we do things on autopilots, on files, and these people wearing nice suits will work out everything and leaders will come there to bless a good outcome. That's not the way it works. But this is not a peculiarity of Prime Minister Modi or President Xi. Look at the world. You have today Germany, people say, yes, we have Chancellor Merkel, she is a strong chancellor. Japan says, yes, I had Prime Minister Abe, he was a strong prime minister. A lot of the debate in an American presidential election is what? That is the president strong enough to lead? So today leadership is very important. The person at the top has to take responsibility. The person at the top has to know what they are talking about, has to be tough and engaged. You can't leave it to the system saying, okay guys, you go figure out this problem and I'll come when something needs to be signed. That's not how diplomacy is done today. That's not how our interests are best advanced, and that's not the way this Prime Minister is. This Prime Minister is willing to lead from the front. If he wants us to pursue a policy, he will advocate it himself. If there's tough talking to do, he is prepared to do it himself. You've covered many of the earlier meetings. When we had a problem, under this Prime Minister, we've been very open about it. You remember, for example, this whole UN sanctioning of Pakistani terrorists. Now, in the old days, you would have brushed it under the carpet. Now, under this Prime Minister, we said, okay, listen, if you are not going to do it, we are going to vocally express our unhappiness. If somebody is sort of delaying, objective we are interested in, it could be nuclear supplies group, we will speak our mind.